Oh boy, am I excited for this video because I got a bone to pick with a few of you. So recently I was doing content talking about FanDuel's way too early win totals for every major conference, including the Big 12, which is bringing over 4 new teams from the Pac-12 simply because George Kliavkoff didn't care about the future of the conference. That's neither here nor there. There's intrigue with these teams, especially ones like Utah and Arizona that could end up winning the conference title in year one. And there's interest in Colorado because it's Colorado. Deion Sanders, Shadur Sanders, prime time in the prime light, now in another Power 5 conference. And somebody said, I am giving way too much credit to Colorado because maybe, just maybe, they'll hit the 5.5 win total. So my question today is, who's actually hyping up Colorado to be this contending roster that means business in 2024? Let's go ahead and discuss. But if you are new here, welcome on into the channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Leave a comment, your thoughts on Colorado's 2024 season, year 2 under prime time. Are they taking a step forward? Are they only going to continue to regress? Make sure that you're following me on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson, Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Slide in the DMs. Ask me a question. I love turning them into one-off videos. Tell your friends, your family, your mortal enemies, best of bros, college football aficionados, everywhere about this channel, even Buffalo fans, because we're on the race to become the #1 YouTube show talking about our favorite sport. We're going to get there eventually, so jump on in while the water's fine. And for every type of information, please follow me on Twitter at Mr. Cole Thompson. That way, conversations surrounding our favorite sport never have to stop flowing. Is Colorado getting too much hype entering 2024? Well, I think it depends on what your version or definition of hype is. I'll tell you what mine is. Drastically over enunciating things that I don't think are going to happen, but I really do believe that there is going to be change. And because of that, I'm excited. That's hype for me. Me saying that Colorado might be able to get over 6 wins and be bowl eligible, not really hype, just a fact. And then we can go back and talk about the hype last season. So Deion gets hired from Jackson State. He brings over the #1 recruit in the country in Travis Hunter. Shadur looks like a stud at Jackson State. A lot of optimism for him going to Boulder. He's now the quarterback. He says that he's bringing over Louis. He basically reconstructs the entire roster overnight via the portal. Never been done before. Even Brian Kelly had at least a few names left behind Baton Rouge when he touched down from South Bend, Indiana. So all this aside, everyone started making projections about Colorado going into the year. I said 4-8. I said they were going to be a 4-win team because that was what Vegas's win total said they were going to be. 3.5 wins. Well, I did not think that they were going to beat TCU, and I did not think that they were going to lose to Stanford. But if you switch those games, right on the money about what they were, because they finished 4-8. Nobody outside of maybe one major 4-letter company was giving the benefit of the doubt to Colorado. Go back to that TCU game. Those who actually cover the sport, those who love the sport, and those who gradually understand what this sport is, said it's shocking to watch TCU crumble the way that they did. Colorado looks like they have a quarterback. They look like they have a key player on defense and offense. They have some identity moving forward. Nobody said, well, they pulled off one of the biggest upsets of the year. Nobody really that cares about the sport said that they were going to be a front runner to make the college football playoff, a front runner in the Pac-12. And the ratings decided to say at that point, well, we already know that because Deion's going to be on television with Fox Sports, with ABC, with ESPN all the time. Why don't we go ahead and throw them into the rankings? We didn't rank them. I never said that they were going to be a top 25 team last year. They beat Nebraska. I still said I'm going to go ahead and hold off for a minute. Let's wait to see what they're going to look like against Colorado State. They played awful in the second half against Colorado State. And at that point, I said, they're 3-0. Good story. There's a lot of good 3-0 teams out there that aren't ranked. And a lot of teams that are sitting at 2-1 that have played tougher competition that is ranked. That's Colorado for you. They made moves this offseason. They've improved internally, especially on the offensive line. They brought over 6 different linemen, including a 5-star in Jordan Seaton, which is the equivalent of adding in 3 veterans who are graduate transfers because he's a ball of clay. All you got to do is mold him in your image the way that you think he's going to fit. Is he better at guard? Is he better at right tackle? Is he better at left tackle? Either way, that is a plug-and-play piece for your foreseeable future, which is huge. They went out and they brought in a few other key names defensively, especially in the trenches. They got a legit new receiver in Will Shepherd from Vanderbilt. He was a stud the last 2 seasons in Nashville. And so now You're talking about this Colorado team being bowl eligible. Bowl eligible is not what Deion Sanders is expecting. Bowl eligible is not what Deion Sanders is begging for. He wants titles. He wants glory. He wants the accolades. And why shouldn't he? Every college football coach wants the same thing. Whether it's Kyle Whittingham, whether it's Kirk Ferentz, whether it's Luke Fickell, whether it's still Nick Saban calling games from the broadcast booth on ESPN. They want wins. That's the bottom line. They're not content with being bowl eligible. Not even group of 5 schools are always content with being bowl eligible. They want to go and win a conference title. So nobody is saying Colorado is going to be a front runner to win the national championship next year, or even a conference championship, make the college football playoff. They may have the best quarterback in the sport in Shedeur Sanders. We don't know. I'm one of those people who is a wait and see person. I'm waiting to see what these quarterbacks look like in the spring before I come to a determining factor who is number one. But they may have the number one player defensively or just overall in Travis Hunter. That does not mean that they're going to be a viable threat in the new Big 12. In fact, you look at their schedule, the Big 12 did them no favors. Brett Yormark said, hey, I come from the media market as well. I know what's going to sell tickets, and you're going to be playing some really rigorous games year one. Just so you understand, you're going to be on prime television. You're also going to have to make some moves, Prime. They start off the year against North Dakota State, Nebraska, Colorado State. You can probably chalk up, I would say, at least 2 of those games as wins, maybe a third if Dylan Raiola is not up to speed in Lincoln. Then you play Baylor. Baylor, you think right now, maybe you'll get a win over. Nobody knows what's happening with Dave Aranda down in Waco. Things could be positive, things could be negative. Your next set of games, 3 in a row, September 28th at UCF, then you get a bye, then you're on at home against Kansas State, a front runner for the Big 12, and then Arizona on the road a week later in Tucson. After that, you get a game against Cincinnati, and you close out the year with 4 straight matchups against Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State. 3 of those teams have preseason win totals of over 8.5. Nobody is saying that you can win every single game. Nobody is saying that Colorado is going to even be at 7-5. You're saying, can you get to 6-6? Can another year with working now as Pat Shurmur, your OC, another year developing talent in terms of what Deion is looking for, is that enough to get you to bowl eligibility? Is that enough to say you're on the come up? You're seeing continued growth, progress. You're bringing in the right transfers. You're adding in the right names. That's not hyping up Colorado. These are questions that we have, questions that I asked. Yeah, if everything pans out, the wide receiver room looks really good. The rushing attack is stable because the offensive line is holding a block longer. Shedeur Sanders has time in the backfield. Defensively, they take a monumental step forward because Charles Kelly's no longer there. Do you feel like at that point, you've done enough to where maybe in the fourth quarter against a team like Texas Tech, you're at least holding your own? Maybe in the fourth quarter against a Cincinnati team, you're up by 14, and that's enough for you to feel confident. Maybe going into halftime, you're leading by 10 points against Baylor, and now you're coming out, you're going to be able to coast your way to a double-digit victory. Those are the questions that you have. That's not hyping up a team. That's you being open and honest and saying to yourself, yes, Colorado is going to bring in the eyeballs, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be good. Deion Sanders is one of the most prime names in all of media conglomerates right now because of not only does he know how to get the viewership, but he also knows how to say the right things that people are going to gravitate toward. And we live in a society right now where people want information that is basically shock culture humor. That's what you want. You want to be able to have the biggest, boldest, brightest saying at the foreground of every conversation. And so whenever we say anything nice about Colorado, you say, oh, we're hyping them up. We're deciding that they are the best team in college football. Nobody is saying that. Nobody. Nobody at On3, nobody at 247 Sports, nobody at the Daily Wire, nobody at CBS Sports. Nobody is going out and hyping up Colorado. What they're saying is you expect better results because it's another year under the foot. You get to 5.5 wins, which is 6 wins. What you did the year before, you did again. And that's all you're expecting at this point. Colorado to take that next step. Go from losing games in mediocre fashion against teams that they should beat, like a Stanford, and holding your own and getting a double-digit win instead. That's what we're talking about here. So if that's me overhyping Colorado, saying that they're going to be more improved when it comes to consistency, timing, structure, when they go on special teams, they won't be flagged for careless penalties. Fine, I'm overhyping Colorado. So be it. But you know what? Anybody else would be saying the exact same thing because this is what you expect from a team going in from year one under a new regime with a slew of players that join a roster overnight and had to learn to mesh, gel, and cohabitat with each other to now saying that they are going to at least have one set entity at the end of the day. That's me overhyping Colorado. That's me overhyping Colorado. And the entire country is overhyping Colorado. But at the same point, all I'm saying is get 7 wins. You get to 6 wins, I consider that at least a step in the right direction. You get to 7 wins, you might as well say that you won the national championship. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Leave a comment telling me your thoughts. Is Colorado getting too much love going into the year? Tell your friends, your family, your mortal enemies, best of bros, college football aficionados, everywhere about this channel. Make sure that you follow me on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson. I am Cole Thompson. And until next time, see you later, folks.